Welcome to Your Soul Wisdom, hosted by Yana Amor Manocas. In each episode, we invite you on a transformative journey delving into the profound mysteries and wisdom of the soul. Join us as we explore a wide array of spiritual topics and sacred practices that nurture and heal the soul, from reincarnation and soul contracts to the enigmatic experiences of womb alchemy and astral travel. Our discussions are designed to enlighten, inspire, and deepen your understanding of your own soul's journey. With Your Soul Wisdom, nothing is off limits. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Your Soul Wisdom. I feel like we're in the middle of the summer. Well, at least on this side of the world. I always forget that we're not.
I know, it's the middle of winter over here.
Yeah, like me, Kylie, and Amanda are roasting, and we're toasted, and we're like trying to avoid going outside sometimes, like the plague. But for everyone else who's on the other side of the world, I hope you're enjoying your cold, your snow. I'm happy to be on this side of the world.
You enjoyed that.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Yes, but we have an interesting topic today. We are talking about memory. One of the things, just like the idea and the concept of memory. And I guess the first thing that came to my mind, and the only thing that came to my mind, is that with everybody having different ideas of the same events, it reminds me that we're all having a subjective experience. Like our lives and our views are subjective. And so we're all going to have a different emotion or memory or recall of the same exact event. And of course, what always comes to my mind is like the Twin Towers, when that whole thing happened on 9/11. Like, where were you? Or where were you when the Bulls won the third time championship in a row? Like, those are core memories I have, but they're all different, right? But Rachel, will you really take us down this hole so we can really expand it?
Look, it started because there's a couple of people in my life that, they're these people that when they retell a story, the story can feel wildly different. And sometimes I'm in the story as well and standing there thinking, I was there. What are you talking about? This kind of thing. Anyway, but it happened that it was reflected back to me with my own behavior. And I was talking to someone who was selling their business, and we were talking about, where I was up to at that same stage. And I said something like, oh my God, by then I was just a hollow shell. I was so burnt. I was numb. There was just nothing left. And they said, no, you weren't. You were crying every day. And I remember there was this period of like 6 weeks when I would just be, every time I got to my PT, she'd have to do work on me to stop me crying so I could do the weights kind of thing. And I had just, not purposely at all, but obviously just, I don't know, rewritten over that, or just not bedded it down or something like this. And so absolutely not on purpose. And I don't think being numb is better than being upset, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not like I was trying to make it a better story or anything like that. But I realized that it almost shook my confidence in what my memory was of my actual life. And then it made me start thinking of bigger questions like, what is life? Or what is your, like, this kind of stuff. Well, it's sort of like we know that you can sort of manipulate your own reality on purpose, but I've never really taken into consideration really what my subconscious and unconscious mind is doing as far as rewriting my story for me as well. It was a really weird feeling. And even when I feel quite lost in the conversation, even explaining it, although I feel confident that you guys know what I'm talking about. But I wonder if you, like, even me saying this is bringing up similar experiences for any of you. I mean, I know it's different from what you were talking about, Yana, and I totally appreciate that everyone's going to have a different experience of everything, but I didn't realize that I would have a different experience of everything, even though I know intellectually when you remember things, you're remembering the last time you remembered it. You're not remembering it the first time you remembered it,
Correct.
if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I do understand this, but it's just like, when we're talking about timelines and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, I don't know. I get really, it's really weird. Maybe there was a timeline when I was burned out as a husk at that time when I was saying it and swap. Do you know what I mean? Like I just get completely lost in all of this. And I think it's a rich subject and, something that all 5 of us can get messy in, basically.
So can I just go back to something you said just there quickly? And Jana agreed, because I've never ever thought of that. When you remember something, you're not remembering the original time. You're remembering the last time you remembered it.
Correct. Because what happens is your brain rewires the memory and reconfigures it every single time you recall it. And so there's something about science connecting it to your nervous system at that moment of when that event actually happened and your emotions. And if you were dysregulated, you would have kind of gone into protection mode, which again, my brain thinks in frequency. So I think right away, this is the 11-2, protecting itself from certain memories. Maybe there's this part of you in the example that you gave, Rachel, where it's like, I didn't want to remember the fact that for 6 weeks I kept crying for whatever reason. And so the brain rewrote it like I wasn't crying. I was
not feeling.
busy. Right. Not feeling all the things. But in reality, something else happened, but that rewired itself kind of like as a protection mechanism. And so that's actually what comes up for me when I think that, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to add that to my 11 bucket. As more, but it's a beautiful example of how that works out. And I think the other day I had mentioned something about how I was talking to my brother. We were at work. And he started talking about how we grew up in our childhood. And he said something like, oh, we grew up with like this poverty mindset and this poverty experience. And I remember like before he even finished the sentence, I was like, oh, we were so rich in what we had. We were so rich in so many things. That was the complete opposite from my experience. And so it's the same exact thing. 2 kids, same household, doing the same exact thing. And we remember it completely different. And so, why is that though?
Well, this, it's interesting because Linda will be coming on the podcast soon. No, but Linda will be coming on the podcast soon. Rachel and I are studying face reading with her. And it's really interesting because she does talk about, say, just as an example, because there are a number of things and combinations and whatever, but someone with a small chin generally is more sensitive to their environment, and it's related to the root chakra. So, they can have a different experience of their childhood home, say, and for them, they're more sensitive to actually sound vibrating through their body. So someone raising their voice can have a greater impact on them. I mean, not to mention there are effects from soul contract and human design and everything else. Do you know what I mean? So we're all unique in all of those ways, right? So I guess, I think that's the biggest thing for me. Yana, exactly what you said. I went to straight away, and I know Gabor Mate did a video about it, or it was a reel or something, about how each child really experiences their childhood differently, has a different memory, had different connections with their parents. The parent is all very unique. Yeah. And the parent, the actual relationships between each of, the pairs, very, very different. But that's based on so many things. But, it's kind of interesting because we think like our memory is like the absolute truth or something because it's the realest thing for us. And then we start to talk to other people and go, oh. So it's interesting.
Well, hopefully we do that, Lauren. Hopefully we do that and we don't start going, your version of the truth is not the version of the truth. Let me tell you how it is. I mean, there are other options.
Yeah.
But it does loosen, like, may I be conscious of this and like
open to
may
it.
I be conscious
Just
of this.
Be open to it.
For the ease of my own life as well. Do you know what I mean? Because there is uncertainty is such a double-edged sword. Do you know what I mean? It's like, of course, it can be destabilizing, but it can also be really opening, curious, energizing. And may I hold on to this side of things?
But it's like that in my. Let's just like with the example. I think I mentioned it in the collective the other day that my family, we all of the exact same thing. We all interpret it different, and I suppose interpretation is what informs your memory. how and like how you take in a particular situation. But we all remember things very, very differently. My sister remembers a whole other story. I remember the truth of it. One of my brothers has no memory whatsoever. Yeah.
The person that is the least present remembers the whole part, right?
That is funny.
And I'm so sorry to drag us back to my side of things, and I realize that I'm doing that. But I'm so intrigued of when you guys have realized that you have remembered yourself inaccurately. Because I just remembered
Yes,
another
me.
example. Yeah. So there was a
Yeah, I
time when
have.
my mother doesn't keep anything. She like gets high from throwing stuff out. And I swear to God, out of my whole childhood, there was a shoebox of stuff. We'd got back down to a shoebox. Anyway, some of these had my report cards in them. And anyway, for the sake of the story, in my own little brain, I remember myself as being a pain in the ass, but a straight A student. And when I was reading these report cards, I was neither of those things. I was definitely a high performer, but I wasn't anything like straight A's. And honestly, every single comment was about my kindness, my cooperation, my willingness to help. And I'm thinking, I don't remember myself like that at all.
Yeah.
So have you guys...
But I feel like this is not uncommon for a 7 because of that whole like inner world, outer world, not necessarily match it. Yeah, because
karma out there, people, by the way,
because
dumb as people.
When at various times where say something's been going on, I haven't been feeling good. And I feel like it's written all over my face and everybody knows. And then I'll find out later that no one had any idea that something was going on because that mask was just so strong. And I do think that is a little bit of what you're talking about, Rachel, because I know you've got 7s. And it's like your internal, and it probably goes for other people as well, as, but your internal perception of your outward expression isn't necessarily what was being received, right? And isn't that interesting too, not to bang on about face reading, but it's pretty cool. And the right side of your face is the way people see you, and the left side is actually your internal world. So, and they're actually different. Like if you split them and mirror them, they're very, very different. So people perceive you as per the right side of your face and those features. So it's interesting.
I think there's also...
Lauren, have you had a case when you've busted yourself realizing that you've remembered yourself in a different way? I just want to know.
Totally. When I wanted to be friends with Kylie, I was really, really annoying, and she doesn't remember any of that. She thinks I was amazing.
No recollection, blacked it out. You're perfect.
What about you guys? Yana, have you ever had that?
Yes, let me get it out. I completely connect to what you're saying because I think there's a fantasizing that people do, right? You want to remember yourself in a better light, or the version you want to be. You almost start rewiring your memories as you've always been that. And so a simple example is I think I've always been calm.
Sorry.
I know everyone laughs, but I'm not like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I've always been calm and collected. And like, I think I can get along with everybody or whatever. And every time like my sister or my best childhood friend, they're like, oh, you were the fieriest girl to exist. Right. And again, I'm an Aries, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't remember any of that. I don't remember a single moment except one time when that actually happened. But I think that's what happens. I think we fantasize of a bigger, better version of who we are. And we just start to believe that that's who we've always been.
Well, I did the reverse though. I catastrophized.
I did the reverse too. I was going to say, I honestly round myself down. I'm thinking if there's no stronger evidence of my self-worth, it's this.
No.
However, it's interesting because maybe that fiery expression to your nervous system is a natural state, but maybe to theirs, the way they receive it is like heightened. Do you know what I mean? So again, whose perception is right?
Person. You'd still be the most fiery person I know. I think you're the most fiery person I know.
You are the most fiery person I know.
Have ever met you? You are the winner.
Have you met you?
I'm not saying that I don't have
fighting
extremely
words.
strong. I'm not saying that I don't have extremely strong, even dominating energy, but I don't think people describe me as fiery. It's not fire. And you have literally fire energy. Hey, I might have something even more destructive than you. I'm definitely not making it better or worse, that kind of
Right.
thing.
I get it.
But no, I don't think I've ever been
But
described as fiery. Forceful, sure, but not fiery.
but the thing that I think about, right? That I kind of sometimes fear, but I kind of sometimes want to happen is a school reunion for me, because I would really like to see how people remember me. But at the same point in time, I don't want to see how people remember me. And I used to have a school group that I used to hang around with when I was in like sixth form. And we met after about 20 something years. We met many years ago. And one of them, he kept on, it was the strangest thing. He kept on making comments to something I hadn't even said. So it was almost as if he came prepared that maybe the person that I had been when we were back at school, I was always sort of making, I don't know if I used to make snarky comments or stuff like that. I don't know. But
he'd been rehearsing for 20 years. And
yeah,
he'd
be
just
like,
to say it at the right time.
Man traumatized.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And he would be like, all right, Kanini. And I'd be thinking, I've not even said anything. What are you going on with? And he'll go, and even if I said that, I'd say to him, like, well, I haven't said anything. All right, Kanini. Right, Kanini.
Okay, hands up who thinks this man has a crush on Amanda.
Everyone
seriously?
does. Yes.
No, he didn't. He
Do you want
didn't.
the
It wasn't me he had a crush on. It wasn't me. But even over the years, he would like send me like messages, WhatsApp messages.
Yes.
And it'd be really weird in them.
Are you backing up our... Okay, again, who thinks...
It wasn't. It was as if he was. No, but I genuinely felt he was responding to this Amanda that existed when, a different version of me when I was 17, 18. But I couldn't remember. I thought we were all kind of funny, kind of, we all got on really, really well. But this wasn't the version that I was today. And I was quite apprehensive about meeting everybody. And he was just on fire. And I just couldn't understand who he was relating to because it wasn't me.
So
I was saying to my friend,
sorry, Kylie, what did you say?
I'm nothing. I'm just making a comment. Just saying, you really doused your water on him and put his fire out. Just saying.
Oh,
that's really sad.
Me?
Yes.
I was saying to my friend.
Is that why you came like that?
About this subject. And
yes,
she was saying that, it would be really interesting to get feedback from an external source. And I was saying that there was a course that I did, and that was actually what you did, is that, you gave people, I don't know what it was, 50 or 20 words or something like this to put in order of what, of, your personality traits for them. And what I can remember is when I did that 20 years ago, the most prevalent was determined and the least was meekness, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But that was not my point. That was leading on to another point, and now I've just spoken over and rewritten my brain and can't remember it. Oh my goodness, sorry, I beg your pardon.
No, well, by the way, Rachel, I've done one of those. I had taken some leadership course where they wanted external, like 3 different people to basically answer certain questions about you and pick from. And by the way,
maybe it was the same thing.
Okay, they were all lovely.
Yeah, hey, no one's suggesting you're anything but lovely, and please don't.
There's nothing wrong with fiery.
Like, think about what the world would be like without fire. It would not be a good place,
Okay, so let's come back to the memory thing. Now, there's the romanticizing. There's the protecting, right? It's almost like you protect yourself from the actual memory. There's we've had different experiences, and so my point of view is different from your point of view.
There's the multidimensional aspect of changing timelines that may have different memories associated with different
When Amanda was saying I was different when I was a teenager, I was like, what?
I was like, you certainly were.
You certainly were. What?
Just 100 trillion million times over.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Do you know what? I have friends that I've been with since I was 11. And what I find really interesting is that they have pockets of memory that I have no recollection of. And this is kind of slightly different to what you were started with, Rachel, but they have pockets of memory that I don't have. I was present, and they get
Can you
kind of
connect to it
irritated
when they
with
tell
me.
you, though?
No.
Because I quite like it when people say things that I've completely not remembered, but when they talk about it, I know they
I do
existed,
have
and
that
I remember them
sometimes,
then.
for the
And
most
it's a
part,
beautiful feeling.
no, I don't. And they say, and they get quite agitated with me because it's like, how can you not remember that? It was huge. And you search for it, and it's not in my memory bank. I don't have it.
You know, maybe those different points in time are more significant for them for whatever reason than for you.
Or maybe you were drunk, because that counts for like a good 10 years of my life. I'm like, did I do that?
Really?
Well, there's also a lot. There's a lot of study that shows that poor childhood recall is also linked to trauma. So
absolutely.
So can I jump in on this one, because this is the one that I can. So unlike you ladies, I'm an only child with a not desirable childhood, and I don't have that checks and balance in place, right? So I gaslight myself probably once a week
on purpose.
Oh
no,
Well, no,
I'm
it's like
"Did this happen?"
that's it's like you're not quite sure what the reality actually was, because
Right.
it's part
Can
of
you-
the whole thing.
like something triggers a feeling or like a snippet of it, because I don't remember 90% of my childhood, right? It's blocked, it's fine, it's my protection, I understand all that. Welcome to trauma. And I have something that might trigger, oh shit, I remember that, but it's only a 3-second little screenshot of it, and then I'm like, did that really happen? Or am I justifying my emotions by imagining that happening? And I don't have anyone to kind of go back to and go, hey, did this happen? So it is a loop that I think a lot of trauma, based people go through on a daily basis. And it is the most trippiest thing to sit there and question yourself daily. Did that happen?
Because you
Did
don't know
that?
it
I
is
know that
real.
the general, but the memories, like, did that happen?
Yeah.
And also, if that trauma is pre-verbal, then you don't necessarily have any words for it, so they come through as felt sense,
Right.
which means you could have this flood of a certain feeling and not know what it relates to as well, which is very disorienting.
Exactly.
Carly, do you have photos of yourself as a kid? Is there photos of you? This is a different.
I do
related
have
to
a
this.
handful that I have brought across the ocean. Yes.
I only say that because I don't know what to say about childhood photos because of also what we're talking about, because they are literally snapshots. Do you know what I mean? So the amount of projection you can do on a photograph is wild kind of stuff.
Right. And I can look at all those childhood photos and not have any recollection of the place, the time frame, circumstance, anything, nothing. I'm like,
I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't
that?
trust
Oh,
my
it's me.
recollection now either. Like at 55, if I'm looking at photos of 5 years old, I personally wouldn't even trust myself, and not without the trauma. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't know what was going on, but I do find it very helpful. Without photos of myself, it would be extremely difficult for me to connect back to those earlier versions of myself. It's sort of like I at least need to see what I looked like to get back there, kind of thing, in treatments and stuff like that. That's all I was thinking of. Not that you want,
And speaking of photos, there's this phenomena where we have to video everything, right? We're at a concert, video it, fireworks, video it, right? And is like, I'm wondering if that is also a storytelling kind of reserve. Like, why can we not just observe the moment and remember it for that moment, the emotions, the whatever the minute thing that may be at the time, instead of having the need to video it? Are we reliving that emotion? Like I'm in that weird generation where thank God a lot of my stuff was never documented as an early adult.
Oh, we're all in that
Yeah.
generation.
We're all in that boat.
So
But
I don't have the need to video, like I'm sitting at a concert and the only one doesn't have a phone up.
Yeah, that's
right?
me
But-
too.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah, but
why
I
do you think
understand.
that?
that, but I'm on the other side of that in terms of my kids. I wish I had videoed them more because I've forgotten. And I think that's my biggest thing. I try not to think about it a lot because I think it would really stress me out. I don't remember all of them. I don't remember all the different stages. I don't have it. I just don't have that memory. And I do want it. I do want it, and I wish I had videoed. And I know that we did video some things, but I don't have those videos. I don't have access to those videos. Maybe I should have taken those when I had the chance, but I didn't. But 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 I wish I did.
You can't get
Because
your children to ask for them, Amanda.
sorry,
You could get your children to ask for them now.
possibly, I don't know, possibly, but I do. But I have a huge box of all their pictures of like growing up, like babies. But I don't have the video, so I can't hear their voices, or see their movements and stuff like that. My middle son had the most funniest walk. But as soon as you put him into his pampers and you set him off to walk, he walked a bit like a duck. His bum used to sway from side to side. It was so cute. But didn't have I don't have it, and I can't remember certain things of them when they were little, like certain ages I cannot remember, and I find that really tough. And I wonder if if that's common, if that's normal. I've never asked anybody before, so I've never really put that out to the air like I have now.
I imagine you were under immense pressure at the time, and I wonder if you actually can work out what those ages are. I wonder if they correspond with particularly stressful years, because there would have been something like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
don't
but it's a
remember.
beautiful thing that
Yeah.
I'm so touched of you even wanting this. Do you know what I mean? It really, honestly, smashes my heart open in such a beautiful way. I've never even thought to want something like that. Obviously, I don't have kids, but I can. Yeah. It seems like Anyway.
Well, you're
Aren't we the memory holders for our kids, though? Aren't we?
Yeah, well, we're supposed to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, my parents were brilliant parents, but I would give them very, very low scores for memory holding. Very low scores. I asked my mum anything. She goes, "Oh my God, Rachel, that was 40 years ago." I'm like,
okay, well then hold on a minute. So you say that. So Kylie, then with your children, with your girls, do you remember? Do you have?
There are pockets I don't, and you know why? I had 3 kids under the age of 4.
Yeah.
And I barely remembered to breathe. So I don't remember a lot of babyhood. And to be honest with you, I know that was just, it is what it is. I'm not going to beat myself up over it, but there was a lot of videos. Thank God for technology. So I look back and I'm like,
I was like you. I had 3 under the age of 4 as well, under the age of 5 as well.
It's not for the faint-hearted,
really.
And especially if you don't have a village. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's not.
But this video stuff is bringing up a really important point of something that I had experienced, which means many other people have experienced it too. But when I was younger, there is a memory that I've had my entire life that until I was maybe early to mid 30s, I was denied. I was told that never happened until an aunt finally said, no, that did happen. And so when I was a little girl, I was either 5, maybe I was like 5 years old, something like that. And so me, my brother, and my sister, they were each a year or 2 older. We were walking to the bakery of our village, and we were getting loaves of bread to bring to our restaurant. And when we were going to cross the street, I remember we stopped, we looked both ways, and one by one, we started walking across the street. Well, when I walked the street, I got hit and ran over by this red pickup truck. Okay. And I remember, like clear as day, the tire just rolling over me and missing my head.
What?
The next, oh yeah. The
11-2?
next memory, yeah, exactly. The next memory is me waking up, and I remember when I gained consciousness, before I opened my eyes, I remember consciously going, I'm gonna open my eyes and I'm gonna be in a hospital because of what had just happened to me. And I opened my eyes and I'm laying in the bed of this other aunt's house, like up the mountain, and there's nobody around. And I get up, clearly no injuries on me. I get up and I walk in the other room, and the adults are looking at me, and I'm like, what happened? And they're like, nothing. And I was like, being that young, I don't know if I kept questioning it or pushing it, or if I said anything else, but I know that my entire life I had remembered this incident. Bring it, like, fast forward, we're in the States, I'm 15, 20, 25, 30. I'm always bringing this up at family stuff because everyone was like, it didn't happen, it didn't happen. Finally, when I was between 30 and 35, I brought it up again at like a family holiday, and it was my mother's sister who said to me, Yana, you're right, it did happen. And I was like, what? Like, tears came down my face because I knew that this happened to me, and I was denied it my whole
It's like
my whole
everyone
life.
split you. Like, why?
Everybody,
What was
why?
the point?
so I said, why would you do that? And they said to me, the kid that hit you, the kid that hit you was a young, like 18 years old in his pickup truck from our village. If they had reported the incident, he would have went to jail. And so they didn't want him to get in trouble. So everyone was mum's the word. And then my sister pipes in and she goes, I remember when it happened. I remember seeing you doing it. It's not that she was hiding it from me. It's just that I don't know if we ever had talked about it, kind of thing. And all of a sudden, all these adults are telling me exactly how it happened, this whole entire thing. By the grace of God,
my
I was healthy.
word.
Right. I didn't need to go to the emergency room. They didn't even check. What if I had internal bleeding? What if, like, God forbid, whatever? But no, they were
What the
protecting
hell?
I know. They were protecting somebody else, and it just felt like this weight was lifted off my shoulder when I was finally told the truth. Although they were all total assholes for doing it.
Yeah.
But it just felt like I knew this thing happened.
I know, but that brings up something really important though, because for people who have that same experience, like a lot of them would dismiss themselves, but you and your fives,
Correct.
oh my goodness,
Correct.
keep
Agreed.
searching. Yeah.
Right. So the flip side of that is that other people can easily manipulate your memories,
It's true.
especially if there's trauma, if there's any kind of abuse, and they're coercing you to shift. No, honey, that never happened. So and so never did that. This and this event never took place. Eventually, your brain starts to go, oh, that actually never happened. And you just let it go.
Especially very young. Absolutely.
Yeah, isn't that just crazy?
Yes, that is
Yeah, but
crazy.
it's
I'm
such a
sorry.
cra-
I'm still
it's such a
recovering from
testament.
that.
It's such a testament to who you are as well, though, Yana.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Determined.
would
No
just want to
fire.
reflect back to you that this happened when you were 5, and you're saying that
Yeah.
you did not let this go, and you brought it up every time that this family was together for 30 years. I mean, like, don't ever let anyone say you've got commitment issues.
No, but I'll
That's
pull up to
wrong.
I'll pull up somewhere to like go into like a dinner date or whatever with like friends. And I'll be at the restaurant and I'll be like, should I just go home right now? Wouldn't it be so nice? So my commitment shows up in that way. But I agree. Yeah, it's something that I'm very well aware of. It could have absolutely.
Does it make you question other things though?
I didn't go that deep
Okay.
because it didn't feel like there was more.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there was more hidden. It just felt like this was that one thing. And so it crept up.
Mhm.
But then it's scary though when you start to remember. Like there's plenty of people, a few that I know in my life, who have had an experience of talking to a therapist, or somehow they've done something and all of a sudden all these memories, all these flashbacks come back of difficult events in their life, and then you're like, how do you even fit that in? And so that's a difficult thing too. That's why memory loss sometimes is that protective. It doesn't serve us to remember all the really tough things we went through, because it could deter us from living the life we're meant to live.
Yeah, but if those things
that makes
come up,
sense.
they need to seek trauma-informed therapy,
I agree.
EMDR, brain spotting, somatic therapies, all of those things, are becoming more and more available. So,
Right.
yeah, if anyone watching does have any of that, highly recommend.
I've just realized, like, I always knew that I wasn't a particularly sentimental person. Like, I am a bit sentimental about some things, but I really spend no time looking at photographs. I spend no time actively trying to remember things or conjure up things, good or bad. I don't really connect
I
to my
do.
past unless I'm yeah, well, this is the thing. And I have another friend, and they literally are obsessed with just looking at old photographs of themselves, of their family. They send me through all of, like, I was going through this holiday. I'm like, not never ever, but I just don't operate like that, and haven't. I don't know whether
Can I
it's
ask you something?
a trauma thing or not. Yes.
Well, is it because I feel like you're the type of kid, and I wasn't around, that would have been always so independent and so like tunnel vision, just Rachel, I'm going to worry about me, I'm going to do me, I'm going to focus on me, like I don't need that community, you were just go, that I
I was
wonder if that deterred that leaning and memories and
I was
does that make
much
sense?
more. It does, because you've known me as a 50-plus-year-old woman, but I
Sure.
definitely know. And well, when I say, well, I don't know, I remember, and it is also in my family memory, that I was extremely social when I was a kid, like extremely social up until, let's call it, 25. More social than most people, kind of thing. So no, I was always out and about with people doing things. But I was brought up in Brisbane, which is a warm place, and so we were literally outside. And I was I was a 70s kid. Do you know what I mean? So seriously, there was parks, golf courses. We were on bikes and in the pool. That's the kind of upbringing I had. And down in streams and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it was very nature based, and it was always with a gang
This is
of kids.
slightly off topic, but it keeps on coming up in my brain, so I'm just going to go with it. Bringing this conversation into real time, what we're talking about memory, and we're talking about other people's memories being different. So that brings in their perceptions, right? Or their uniqueness and their perceptions based on that, their nervous systems, those things. In real time, though, if you think about, say having, a disagreement or some discomfort with a friend, they have a different perception potentially of the situation than you do. And often the gap between, understanding it is just something that each of you don't know or don't appreciate, because you don't have that same perception. So when you talk about memories and different people's perceptions, really you're layering in time with it.
Right.
It's, I don't know, it's interesting. So, I sort of sit there and go, because you can think about how you felt as a child. And I guess, I reflect on this as a mum. And, sometimes when things are really challenging, when you're a kid, you don't necessarily think about maybe how hard things are for your parents.
Right.
You know what I mean?
At all.
There's information that you're missing because it's not appropriate for you to know, but you're still picking up on the energy in the room. So I guess there's this combination of perception and what you do and don't know as well. There are so many different factors.
What about the people who remember being born?
Yeah, not me.
This is
Amanda
you, of
does.
course, Amanda. Yeah, of course. Hello. If anyone was going to raise their hand here, it would have been Amanda. Tell us about it, Amanda.
I was born at home. And I remember when my mum was giving birth to me, and I know that this was so because my mum said to me afterwards, well, you couldn't know those things because you're being born. And I remember so upstairs it was one of those classical two up two downs houses, because the house was quite small. And I remember, obviously, my mum's in labour upstairs in the bedroom, and I came down the stairs. I didn't come down the stairs as a baby. I just, I didn't bump down the stairs as a baby. My energy came down the stairs, I guess. And when I came in, when you come down the stairs, you come into like the dining, well, it's kind of like the dining room and everything else like that. And then you go into the kitchen. But I remember the dining table was up, and because it was a fold down and it was up, and my dad was giving my siblings at the time porridge for lunch, because my mum had gone out shopping and had come back home, and then she went into labour with me. So I guess he didn't have time to prepare lunch. He just had time to sort of like give them something to eat. And maybe the quickest thing to give them was, I guess, porridge. And that's what they were eating. And I remembered it. And I stood there looking at them and thinking, oh, that's mine. Well, those are my brothers and sisters. And then I don't remember myself going back up. I just remember that. And when I spoke about it years later, it would have been years later, because when I had spoken, because I'd never spoken about it to my mum or my dad, I'd spoken about it to my siblings, that I saw them when I was being born, and they were all like, "Yeah, shut up, no, you didn't,
Right. The
rubbish,
normal
yeah, right." And but when I said it to her, she said, "Well, you couldn't have known that but I didn't know I was being born. I just knew that I came down and I saw them all sat there, and Dad was giving them porridge. So that was the only time that happened. I was being bored, but I knew she was upstairs having me. And there was another time as well that my brother, he has a particular cut on the back of his head. And I was able to tell my mum how he got that cut, but he got that cut before I was even born. On the back of his head. He fell down on the fireplace and cut open his head. But I saw him fall down. So you know where they say that really the children that you're having, they kind of visit you. They kind of spend time around you before they come into the family. Kind of. That's what apparently happens. So I saw that when that happened. I didn't push him. I swear I didn't. It wasn't me. I wasn't there. But or maybe that's why he kicked me off the bed later on in my life when I was there. Maybe he's trying to get me back and split my head open. But I don't know. But I remember being born as clear as
That's
day.
wild.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, as clear as day. And I don't have any questions about it. I can always see it, so I can always bring it to mind. If you ask me, it's there. So whether or not I like you said, I'm remembering the last time that I remembered it, but I haven't changed any of the details. I just know the feeling of coming down the stairs.
I think that's a little bit different because you were not in a body, with a brain. You were amorphous.
Yeah.
You were in the ethers. So no,
Yeah.
I think that's a different thing.
But I could see
But
them
yeah.
as well. Go on.
I was just going to say I was going to talk about my experience of memory of being in utero and stuff. So I didn't mean to stop you then.
Yeah, no, go.
I was just saying that, I've had so many treatments that go back to in utero and birth. Lauren's had lots of them with me. That, in a way, I can almost. And I also just realized with Amanda speaking that when I do go back there, I do have visuals. So I can sort of both remember what it felt like inside. I can't remember going through a birth canal or anything like that. I can't remember any of those kind of feelings. But I definitely can remember I was a forceps delivery. So I can definitely remember constriction, like that kind of stuff on my head.
Wow.
And I can remember the feelings of being seriously drugged and angry, that kind of stuff. So, But as I said, I've had so many treatments that are birth treatments now.
But can I ask you, if these memories are from treatments, is it like one of those, like if you ask me to go back to 5 years old,
Yep,
or like a specific point in time, I will visualize some kind of memory from that time. But is it really, are we recreating that in our minds, what we think it is, or is it an actual visual memory?
That's what the whole podcast is about, Yana, darling.
Right.
As in, like, is anything we're remembering accurate? Like ever?
Well, okay. So you say that, but I can remember where each one of them was sitting.
Yeah, Amanda,
So
I
at the
think
time,
yours
there
is
was
different.
three of them.
I'm just
I
gonna
do.
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
we're not
yeah.
arguing. We're not even questioning anything to do with yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I know that, but I was just thinking. I can remember where they were sitting, which was how I
Yeah.
proved my point to them that
right.
that was what it was.
Yeah.
That I saw them.
But
So-
I definitely think, like, I have had times where I've had dreams and then woken up and gone, did that really happen or not?
Right.
And start talking to my husband about it, and he's like, no, that didn't happen. So for someone who perhaps spends a lot of time in very lucid, detailed dreaming, that can be a little disoriented too, or whether it's traveling, whole other discussion.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Sure. Now, quick fun story. I met somebody, and actually, I remember talking to Rachel about him when I met him. This beautiful, tall, dark, blonde hair. He looked like a Greek god. This short blonde hair, gorgeous guy. We were talking, and somehow things led. I think he mentioned Tony Robbins, and so long story short, we went down this spiritual conversation. Which, when you do that with people you connect with, it could be 5 hours later. Somehow in that conversation, he says to me that he remembered when he was born, coming out of the canal, and he remembers the first couple of days. And so what he said, I remember being rushed through the canal. It was like this whooshing, and it was super bright. He said he remembers the moment he came out, and he said on his first day of life, he felt so magical. Now he's got a 22-4. I can't remember where his placement was, but he's as a day old, as a newborn, I felt magical. And I remember this old lady coming into the hospital, and she looked at him. Can't prove this, okay? She looked at him, and he goes, she knew who I was and what I was. And she looked at him, and she grabbed his hands, and they burned him, she said. And from that moment, it's as if all his memory was gone, everything was done. So he believes that whatever he was brought into earth with, whatever awareness or gift or whatever he had, that she came in, he was somehow told that she came in to prevent him from having this quote unquote magic or ability, from having it and using it in the world.
Wow.
Is that not crazy?
Did he do something about it? Did you mention Kylie?
I mean, I think I was just taken aback by this story. I actually would love to have him on at some point for him to tell. There's so much more to the story. Of course, I'm cliff noting what I remember, but it was the wildest thing. He goes, I know it happened to me. I know that was my experience. And ever since, he's trying to connect to something else. But it was the most wild birth story I've ever heard.
Did he mention if he was born with what you call the core, which is the membrane, the covering, the sheath that comes out in?
I don't
if he was
know.
born with the core.
I don't
The reason
know.
why I asked that is because people that are born with the core, and it's spelled CAUL, not CALL, it's cool. Particular people have the ability to determine where these babies will be born in the world. And they are known to be more psychic than anybody else. They are literally born with their clairs on. And and so they can determine actually where they're born. So obviously somebody knew he was coming into the world. But isn't that a form of binding? He could have either have been taken, or it could have been.
Yeah, it reminded me of Discovery of Witches, right, Amanda? Is what I had in my head.
Yeah, literally like that. How old is he?
Right now he's got to be in his late 20s, early 30s.
Oh, surely Amanda and Kylie can do something about this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, listen, if we're going down that hole, let me tell you somebody else I recently met when we're talking about memories. This man started talking to me. Doesn't matter where, what, doesn't matter. Long story short, somehow we got into the spiritual conversation again. And
Somehow. Don't you love it how she says somehow?
yeah. But it's like people always bring it up to me, so they
Yes.
open the door.
Yeah.
And when he first started talking about certain spiritual things, he was talking to me as if he just figured I knew nothing about it. So he was trying to baby step me.
Yeah.
And then once he asked me a question or allowed the space for me to respond, I let him know I'm fully with you. Anyway, he was telling me that he has always had these memories and dreams of himself in the now present time, but being in different parts of the world doing different kind of spiritual work or work for the government. Okay, so let's just leave that there for a second. I see myself in labs, I see myself walking around, I see myself doing these things, but I know they're real and I know it's me experiencing these things. So kind of like his whole life.
Yeah.
He Amanda's like right down my track. Okay, then at some point
I don't think that's what she's thinking. I'm thinking she's
no.
thinking the opposite of that.
Well, hold on. Then at
No.
some point, he was introduced to somebody who did he was having some kind of back pain or just groggy, something that was really irritating him. And so he saw somebody, a spiritual woman, and she was able to connect. There was some kind of entity on his back for decades, and it was siphoning for him. And she was able to connect it. This is his story. From when he was a child, apparently his mother's bloodline and his bloodline were of like Christ connection, whatever it was, the purity of the bloodlines, that when they came together, he was a very special type of, I don't know, human, whatever you want to call it. And so through a portal in the guest bedroom, he said, I remember always being like in a movie when you're like pulled and you're like sucked into something. He remembers being sucked into the guest bedroom that had a mirror in there, that according to this woman, the government, knowing his bloodline, was able to suck him in there and split his consciousness. And there's different versions of him throughout the country that are currently working on different things government-like. Now,
I know this.
I don't know.
I know this.
But so long story short, he's talking to me, he's telling me all this stuff. And I'm like, I need to see his chart. Right. And so for anyone not familiar, there's 7 placements on the chart. Of those 7 placements, he had 3 10 1s and 4 9 9s. And I'm just right away, I'm like, I can see this bloodline of Christ consciousness actually being a real thing based on his chart. Like, I get it. It makes sense to me. And so there was just so much where I was like, could this really be real?
Well, it's interesting because we talked about people manipulating your memories and things.
Correct.
And so, entities, demons.
Look, he's always had the memory of being sucked into that other room. He's had the memories of different versions of himself experiencing life. And so, of course, when other people throw in information, it influences what your belief is 100%, without a doubt. But I just thought it was so interesting, the story. I've never heard anything like it. And I can kind of see how some of it could be valid.
Yeah, well, you can understand how maybe some gaps have been filled in, but the essence that it happened and all of those things, it's almost like a knowing, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Like you being run over by the car, which I still can't get over, just saying.
I want to hear what Amanda has to say. Because I can't help thinking that she was like, that's the same story as something else that she's heard.
Yeah, I have heard that before, or I have heard of groups of, to get closer, I have heard of people speak about that experience in terms of their bloodline, in terms of the whole, I don't know, is that a tinfoil hat episode? Of, been taken by the government and been spliced like that, and in different places, different versions. I have heard of it, and I have heard it just recently, actually.
When they say government, do they actually do they mean government, or do they mean like Men in Black government?
Men in Black government.
Yeah. So
which
yeah.
is still government.
The
By the way,
government
it's not
underneath the government,
right.
Yes,
Or above
there
the
are many
government.
different
whichever.
many different divisions that even the actual, say, like your prime minister, my prime minister, your president don't even have access to. They don't even know
Correct.
it. It's above their pay grade.
Definitely a tinfoil hat
Apparently,
episode.
right. Entertainment purposes, people.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we have unraveled this thread a bit.
A little bit.
And
To get everyone
Lots-
thinking, though, it's like, be curious. Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a right
I
or
want
a wrong.
I want people to write in and tell us times where, well, for me, I want people to write in to me and tell me times when they have exposed their own rewriting of their own history. Like, it's all an internal thing. Like, that's what I'm interested in, is people discovering that. So please tell me about that.
Can I just add something to what you're saying, Rachel? Also, for people, because we never really got an opportunity to speak about it, that has anybody ever read sort of like childhood books or stuff like that and really thought that, I remember this, I was there?
I don't think reading books, but other things.
But like, and it's only ever happened with one story that I remember, and it was Bambi. And I've never ever gone back and done any research on Bambi or anything like that. But the strangest thing was when, and I don't, it's really weird, but when Bambi's dad came out into the clearing, and I thought I was there. And then,
as a deer, something funny. Were you a deer at the time, or were you a human?
It's never ever crossed my mind. I tell you what, it's never ever crossed my mind about who I was or what I was, but I remember that. I remember it like it's really weird, because I guess it's just a story. I have no idea where the Bambi story came from.
Can you meditate on that and let us know, because we're interested to know more detail.
I honestly have no
it.
trouble accepting that as a like an identical frequency vibration to an experience that you had, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, like, sure.
I love you, man.
Like, there's several things for me that I need to pull into this, as in Bambi exists as
and by the way, I'm totally open to that being a real, like, fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, with you, I'm open to anything.
Yeah.
So,
but that's pretty adorable.
Yes, if you're still listening, watching, doing all the things, first of all, thank you. Second of all, head on over to yoursoulwisdomshow.com. Check out our collective membership, because it's so much fun, healing, all the fun stuff. You'll get all the details on there. And if you're interested in a reading, a healing, a guided meditation session, a light body activation, or you want to talk about the memory stuff with Rachel, head on over again to yoursoulwisdomshow.com. We thank you for allowing us to create this beautiful space, and we hope you have a blessed day. Bye, everybody.
Love and gratitude.
Bye everyone.